will the virtuous Sangha out of compassion for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma will to teach and guide us how can birth and death leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tạng thính, vì thứ pháp hội cấp nhất thiết chúng sanh, thiên chuyên diệu pháp luân nhau đạo nam môn, như há liêu sanh thoát tư ly khổ đắc lạc, tốc chứng vô sanh. How much of the blessed, noble, and perfectly enlightened one? Namo Sadanto Suchedo Ye Lahadi San Miao San Puto Xie. Namo Datakha Toya Daya Rade Hamyadambo Datoa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu Chang Sheng She Wei Miao Fa Bai Jian Wan Jie Nan Zao Yu Wo Jin Jie Wen De Shou Chi Yan Jie Ru Lai Zhe Shi Yi. O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Jingliang, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Lefeng people, and all good known advisors of Emitofuo, 诸佛菩萨、精良大士、师父上人、各位出家人、各位上智师阿弥陀佛。Chư Phật Bồ Tát kính thưa Thanh Lưu Quốc sư Hòa Thượng Điện Hóa Ký Tề Cô quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. Today is the 6th of February 2021. We are gathered together to discuss the preface to the Flower Adornment Sutra. This preface here was prepared by Jingliang, Great Master Jingliang. Okay. All right. The last time we talked about the 8 difficulties. Okay. If eight difficulties we refer to, it's very difficult to encounter the proper Dharma to see the Buddha. Okay, those 8 difficulties are: you're born into the hells, the hungry ghosts, or the animal realms. That's why we Buddhists know better. We try to avoid falling through 3 lower realms first of all. Okay, and then if you also know, when you practice a little bit, the non-Buddhists did know better. That's why many of them get stuck in after they die in the heaven of long life. Okay, that's the 4th Mahayana, heaven of no thought. Okay, we have a very long lifespan. And then also there's some people, the fifth difficulty is some people are born in a northern continent where even though the lifespan is very long, you have 1,000 years for lifespan as compared to an average around 65 years nowadays in our southern continent. We are shorter in lifespan, but on average, but we get to encounter the Buddha Dharma and therefore have a chance to attain liberation. Whereas the people who are born in northern continent, they cannot get out of the wheel of reincarnation. Number 6, even though you're born in this southern continent, you might have some physical handicaps. Your organs are not complete. You're blind, you're deaf, or mute, and so forth. And particularly when you're blind or deaf or mute, it's very hard for you to hear the Buddha Dharma and learn the Buddha Dharma or discuss the Buddha Dharma with others. Number 7, this is very subtle. This is rather difficult for people who are knowledgeable, who are versed in debate skills, and who are smart. There's so many of us out there who belong to these categories. In particular, people who are educated, people who think they're smart. These people would have a hard time buying into the Buddha Dharma. Okay, why not? It's because being smart, being superior in debate, being knowledgeable has a tendency to make your ego bigger. Okay, you think you're better than anyone else. Mahayana is quite the opposite. Mahayana is you realize that you may be smart, but you have no wisdom. Okay, you may be smart. The smart is only a temporary thing. You may be smart, but you cannot figure out how to get out of this will reincarnation. You keep on, you're smart, but you cannot stop from suffering. Okay? Wisdom is you could put an end to the suffering, where being smart cannot. That's the difference. Number 8 is that all of us right now have this difficulty. We're born after the Buddha appeared in the world, and before the next Buddha appears in the world. The next Buddha being Maitreya Buddha. He's not here yet, so we're born at the wrong time. As a result, this is so Mahayana. It's a very subtle form of Mahayana that you need to be aware of. The Buddha, the best good known advisor there is. When you meet with the Buddha, when the Buddha appears in the world, his disciples who get to hear from him, who learn directly from him, most of them will become enlightened, attain liberation. So he's the best teacher there is for you to learn Mahayana and can help you obtain liberation and become enlightened a lot quicker than anyone else. So that's why without him it's real difficulty. You learn from unqualified people like myself because there's nothing else you can do. The alternative is not that appealing, let's face it. That's why I know you're here. Because you cannot find anything else better yet. And that's a problem I also have as well. After my master died, I looked and looked and looked, and I couldn't find anyone else. So I'm doomed just like you are, okay? And that's a problem. That's a problem we all are well aware of in Mahayana, okay? We want to follow a good no advisor, and the best one there is the Buddha. Okay? So without a good no advisor, we're going to struggle mightily to learn how to cultivate, to learn how to get out of this wheel. Okay? Whereas the advantage of having a Buddha as a teacher is that, excuse me, whatever he says, there's no doubt in your mind. Whereas whatever I say, you wonder. You say, oh, no, I agree, I disagree, I don't know, I don't know, I could believe this. So anyway, so those are the 8 difficulties that most of us encounter in this lifetime. In particular, the last one is nothing you can do about it. Okay? When Maitreya appears in the world, if you happen to be there, he'll be teaching one day and one night. And countless beings will become enlightened within one day and one night. You've been coming to the temple how long? Years. For some over a decade. And you're still not enlightened yet. That's the difference. That's how sad it is. Okay? That's the way it is. Sorry. I do feel inadequate. I'm not proud of myself, trust me. All right, so what can you do to avoid these 8 difficulties? See, that's what's nice about Buddhism. We give you the bad news, and we also give you an antidote, a solution. That's Mahayana, you see? It's always plus and minuses. It's never one-sided. It's never one way. It's always 2 ways. It's always, if it comes with the good here, she cooks for you, then you have to bear with her temper, her tantrums. Sorry, I know I do sound sexist sometimes. That comes with the territory. Okay? You see that? That's Mahayana. You cannot, if you only hear the teacher says, oh, I will teach you how to be successful. I want to teach you how to be happy. But then leave out the times where you're unhappy, when you fail miserably. What do you do with your life? Okay? Then the skills you're learning is not complete. Because life is full of ups and downs. Yes? Even it happens to the best of us. There are ups and downs. Sometimes God loves us. Sometimes God loves our opponent. Ask the footballers. Tomorrow will be Super Bowl. And I don't know how much, I can't imagine how tough God's job's going to be tomorrow. So many say, God, please let the football team I bet on win. What about the other people who bet on the other football team who also pray to God? You see? So now you have here what the Buddha recommends for you to avoid, what you can do to avoid the 8 difficulties. Okay? You can do these things. You reside in good places. Okay? Or born in, the Chinese word actually, you can be born in the central country, but the Chinese like to call themselves the central country, so that's why you could translate it as born in China. Okay? So, number 1, dwell in good places, in particular, born in the central country, in China, if you will. Okay? What's a good place? A good place here refers to a place where you can find Buddhism. That's called a good place. You know, recently it's very popular for people to talk about, moving away to other countries like Mexico, Costa Rica, and so forth, where for $1,000 you can live like a king. This happened to be the case in Vietnam 10 years ago until recently, when people moved the business from China to Vietnam, so now it's horribly expensive. A house in Vietnam, Saigon, costs as much as a house in Rosemead, or even more. Can you imagine? A puny house in Saigon, but with a big piece of land, is worth more than our Wei Mountain Temple. So you see, so it's so popular for people to, still is the case, where you still say, for a little bit of money compared to less than what we pay for rent here in Rosemead, California, you can have a very comfortable life in Puerto Vallarta. Okay? And you can find good medical facilities, you can find expats, a lot of them, and so forth. But what you will not find is Mahayana. So that's not a good place. Think about it. You go and live and be comfortable, and then you die, and then what? You go back and do the same thing over and over again. There's no end to this. You've been revolving in the wheel of reincarnation for so long that you're so accustomed to it, you don't even think about getting out. How scary it is. It's called habit energies. We don't mind anymore. We're not afraid anymore. And so a good place is a place where there's Mahayana. And nowadays also, recently we hear of companies and people moving out of California, New York. To where? Of all places? Where? Florida. Oh, good Lord. What's there in Florida? Lots of crocodiles. Is it a James Bond movie? What else is there? Sinking holes. Have you heard about that? How would you like to drive on the freeway and all of a sudden your car sinks down like a mile? What about the ex-president's family lives there? Just kidding. No sense of humor. You Republicans. Okay, leaving politics from Florida. What about Texas? Good Lord. Elon. Bad decision. Okay? It's not a good place because there is no Mahayana. Anyway, you see, so that's the concept about being born in a good place. Born in a place where you have access to Mahayana. Now, people say, what about the internet? We can, with the internet, we can live anywhere, work anywhere. Can you practice Mahayana on the internet? I'm afraid not. Okay? You can't. Because you have to be there in person. Just the same thing, we just finished our Chanchi. Can you practice Chanchi in virtual space? Well, I didn't have a chance to say last night, which slipped my mind, is there's a reason why people who come to Wei Mountain Temple and participated in the Chanchi, and with people who were here, actually so many of them made progress this year. A lot more than all the prior years. It's amazing. You don't see them here. Even they're working and so forth as well. But some are here, most of them are not here. They're working and they're doing things. And yet they're making progress. In particular, during this Chanchi, the last Chanchi, year-end Chanchi. That's so amazing. Okay? I told about the old monk here making progress, but he's only one of so many more. Okay? We don't want to brag too much because then you would not believe you wouldn't believe it's possible in this Dharma ending age. It's because these people, okay, are here at Wei Mountain Temple. They're here at our way places, at Go Forest. I know people Go Forest also made progress, but not the same as the level of progress here at Wei Mountain Temple. Okay, to the point where I don't know why I declared it last night that your generation surpassed my teachers, my disciples. I didn't? Well, I just said it. That's why I was so impressed. I said, so you see, the point I'm making is that you have to be there. You have to draw near a good advisor. You have to go to the right places for you to make progress. You cannot, you go to Mahayana way place, your progress would be about 80,000 times faster than you were to do at home. I'm not kidding you. Okay? So that's what I noticed. Internet is only a starting point. You have to be there. You have to go to these places. Otherwise, we would have turned totally into virtual teaching. We don't need to have a way place anymore. Okay? All right? So you have to be born to have to dwell in good places or go to good places. That's the point. This is the thing about Mahayana is that even though you cannot dwell in good places, this is a reminder for you that choose carefully. You have to you have to look beyond these the economics. There's something called quality of life as well. Okay, where to me, I would refuse to move out to other places because I love the museums and the good restaurants and theaters and the operas and the orchestras and so forth. It's part of culture. Okay, that's what elevates our soul. And furthermore, most important that most Westerners don't understand is you have to draw near and go to way places that practice Mahayana. All right? There's no substitute for that, period. Just like there is no substitute for drawing near Buddha. We've been learning about the Buddha's teachings, okay? But it's not the same as you were, he were there in front of you, or the sixth patriarch is actually teaching you. We investigate the Six Patriarch Sutra, but it's not the same as him actually talking to you. It's entirely different experience, let me assure you. It's a fantastic experience. Anyway, so good places. Keep that in mind. And you can start by not moving out of California. Is that considered political talk or no? No, okay, thank you. Born in China. Okay, in particular, you can be born in you see that you dwell in good places, and you want to be born in the central countries of China. Okay, China is not China; it's central country. This is the central middle. In the Chinese culture, middle here is the middle under the heaven. So the central, under heaven meaning the heaven there. We live under heaven. We live in a central area under heaven, not in the borders, not in the frontiers. Okay? Frontiers are for grizzlies and what's his name? The guy with the grizzly? Grizzly Adams, thank you. You see, you Asians have no culture whatsoever. Okay. The important things in life you need to learn. Okay? So, frontiermen like Grizzly Adams and so forth are not meant for you to get liberated. Okay? So, you want to be born in the center, below heaven. Okay? And also, Chung here is middle or central. And then Hua is flower. Okay? Flower refers to they can do flower arrangements, I think. No, it means you have culture. It's replete with culture. Okay, you can have harp players, xylophone, violin recitals, and so forth. Okay. Quality of life. Culture refers to quality of life. All right. So you're born in the central part of under heaven where this culture, and the highest form of culture is Picasso, pink.
Mahayana.
Mahayana, there you go. Very good. Mm-hmm. All right. So you're born in central country, okay? In Buddhism, the second country refers actually geographically because that's all they knew back then. Ganges, Magadha country, or the culture as a government. Actually, it is good government. Is central India and or Shravasti, which is the capital city of Kosala and so forth. Anyway. In Buddhism, they refer those historically. In Buddhism, Indian Buddhism, there is a central country. Okay, so that's the favorite destinations, if you will. If you're going to go back to the human realm, that's where you want to go back to. All right, like here, you don't want to be born. You don't want to be born as in Russia. Good Lord. Is Russia central? I don't think so. It's somewhere in a corner somewhere, right? All right. So you dwell in good places, born in central country, okay? So the place where we live, where we're born, matters. Okay? Number 2, you depend on a good person. Okay? Depend on a good person. Here's the key word, good person. Okay? You depend on a good person. This person here practices goodness, not because people say so, because he does it every day. he is about doing good things. Okay? And you can depend on a good person. Okay, in particular, the best person is to meet with the Buddha. As far as good person goes, he's the best. All right? Number 3. Is there something good? Number 3. Why do we have here? Proper view. What happened to proper view? Yeah. Okay, number 3. You make proper vows. Okay? The proper vows. And you are complete with proper views. Okay? The fact of the matter is that people of the world don't understand the importance of making vows. Vows are like the engine that drives us towards liberation. Okay? Without the engine, you can't go. You can't not get there. So, in Buddhism, lifetime after lifetime, Buddhist practitioners make vows. And the vows, as their levels get higher and higher, are more vast, are bigger, are more far-reaching. Okay? So that's called proper vows. You make the proper vows to propel you towards your ultimate destination, your ultimate achievement, your biggest achievement, that is becoming a Buddha yourself. All right? And part of learning to make the proper vows is you would need help from a good no advisor. Okay? And if once you start making vows, proper vows, something magical happens. You make proper vows, next lifetime you make proper vows, you keep on making proper vows, even bigger and bigger proper vows. That's what brings you closer to your destination, your goal. Okay? Also, in addition to make proper vows, you need to have proper views. In order to make proper vows, again I repeat, you have to have proper views. You don't have the proper views, you cannot make proper vows. Does it make sense? Okay, so what are proper views? Proper views are not deviant views. Okay? Proper is the opposite of deviant. Okay? What are the proper views? Proper views are what help you understand worldly and transcendental cause and effects. Okay? Proper refers to the fact that it's consistent with the law of cause and effect. That's why in Buddhism, because of the Buddha's wisdom, he has this total understanding about what happens in the universe. So he sees the direct causation between the cause and the effect. The Buddha has that kind of wisdom. And that's what we call proper. Proper is that there is direct link between a cause and the effect. And the Buddhist sages can see that, and in particular, the Buddha can see all the causations and all the effects. infinitely. Whereas the non-Buddhas can see only limited ranges of cause and effect. Is that clear? So not only can he see the worldly cause and effect, he also can see the transcendental cause and effects. And that's why he teaches us. Even though we cannot see it yet, the direct causation, but as we listen and learn about the cause and effect that he teaches, we will eventually verify it ourselves as we progress through the ranks. All right? And also, furthermore, is the proper view is comes from the wisdom. You can examine and contemplate without flows and without outflows. Okay. So contemplate dharmas with outflows. I'm missing a word here. Sorry. Sorry. Is contemplate dharmas. There you go. Okay. Okay, YouTube has a question.
Master, if I've made improper vows in the past, like wanting to take revenge on someone that did me wrong, what can I do with my past improper vows?
Past improper vows? Undo them. Okay, there's a proper way to make vows is that if you have the chance, and make vows in front of a good no advisor, because a good no advisor can advise you and correct you and teach you how to make the proper vows. With improper vows, you can go in front of a good no advisor and repent and retract those vows. In particular, you don't have access to a good no advisor, you can kneel in front of the altar and in front of a statue or images of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and retract them. That's all. Hopefully you haven't carried through your vows yet. If you have, I don't envy you. All right, anything else? Views. Proper views is a very important part of cultivation. In fact, it's essential for you when you practice, when you have any kind of spiritual practice, to develop proper views. If you have the wrong views, the improper views, you will get lost. If you have improper views, you will get sidetracked. Okay, so that's why. So in particular, if you have the wrong views, improper views, your wisdom cannot develop. Okay, Buddhism is about the developing of wisdom. You learn, you practice, all these practices, all these instructions are designed to help you open your wisdom. And that's why quite often they don't make sense to you, because you don't know better. If you knew better, you have been enlightened already. You would have become a Buddha already. Okay? So it's beyond you, right? So in Buddhism, there's proof that as you progress, as you practice Buddhism, and your wisdom increases along with your samadhi. Okay? Oh, I started by saying that there's another thing I forgot to mention yesterday. But anyway, it's when too bad. Maybe another occasion. Okay. The deviant view is one of the 5 improper views that will bring you into trouble, give you a lot of trouble, and prohibit you from developing your wisdom. Be careful. Okay, what are those 5 improper views? When you practice any kind of spiritual practice at all, only in Mahayana do we point out these things to you. These are impediments to your developing any real wisdom. You can believe all you want, but it doesn't matter you're Buddhist or non-Buddhist. But if you believe your belief is in contradiction to these 5 views, then you will not develop wisdom. Doesn't matter how long you practice, doesn't matter how hard you practice, you will not have real wisdom. What are those views that are improper? Okay? They're called slow servants. This is very important. See, how many knew about this? Right. We come back to that. Okay. They're called slow servants. And that they refer to, they're confused about manifestations. What are manifestations or phenomena? You observe something happening, and you don't know why. That's right. Horrible. Huh? Because you don't know why. For example, people say, I do charity work, and I'll be born to be near my Creator. That's not quite accurate. That's why sometimes they're born there is not the direct causation between charity and being born near their Creator. That's why sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Most of the time it doesn't. Got that? That's a difference. That's a difference. In Buddhism, we say, in order for you to go near that heavenly God, there's so many things you can do. Okay? Not just charity work and so forth. So that's why the proper views are so important. Okay? And in order to have proper views, you have to recognize what is improper. Right? At least you should know what's improper. And if you avoid improper views, then the rest is proper. That's the difference in Buddhism, by the way. We teach you what's wrong, and you avoid what's wrong. Whereas, and then this comes from the Buddhist words, and the Buddhist styles of teaching. You say, stop making mistakes that will prevent you from opening your wisdom. Success is defined as avoiding failure. If you avoid all failures, then everything you do will result in success. Because if you learn about success, you learn about failure, then sometimes you succeed and sometimes you fail and you don't know why. Think about it. There's some wisdom in there somewhere. Huh? We go to college, we go to school, we only want to learn what's right, we don't want to learn what's wrong. Right? They say, show me how to do, this or do that, and how to be successful and so forth. Okay? Buddhism said, how about avoiding failures? We teach you how to avoid failures. We teach you how to avoid not going to the Pure Land this lifetime. I ask you, all of you Pure Land practitioners, whoever taught you that? Yes, green.
Mô Phật, bạch thầy, cái chuyện mà nó là cái người tà kiến, nó nói mình thấy những người đó là tà kiến rồi, thì mình đâu không cần né, thì mình phải làm sao nghĩ có một cái trí huệ đi độ cái người đó. Mình né rồi cái nó tưởng là bây giờ tôi nói gì tôi trúng, còn làm thêm nữa, nó còn hư thêm nữa, theo quả ngăn nghĩ như vậy đó thầy.
Okay, go ahead, translation.
Master, when we encounter a person that has the improper view, they say things, it's hard to avoid. Like, we don't need to avoid, but we need to have wisdom how to help them to cross over them.
Okay, wisdom has two kinds, has two levels of wisdom. Number one, the wisdom that enable you to be liberated, not make mistakes anymore. That's one kind of wisdom. And then the other kind of wisdom is you help teach others to avoid making mistakes. It's two different kinds of wisdom. If you're not enlightened yet, you need to learn the first kind where you need to avoid making mistakes yourself. Then you learn about how to teach others not to make mistakes. Okay? So that's why, in her case, she doesn't have the first type yet. So that's why don't meddle is the answer. If they're making mistakes, it's none of your business. Okay? You're not liberated yet, so don't try to help people. Because when you're not wise yourself and you try to help people, all you're doing is most likely infect others with your with your stupidity. Sorry. Okay? Too soon to worry about that. All right. So let's look at about the 5 kinds of beliefs that the unwise insist on holding on to. Kath, would you like to learn? He says, I don't care. These are called the slow servants, which is they're confused. You're confused about what you see, okay? Phenomenon or manifestations, okay? Because you're confused, and that's why you are afflicted. In other words, when you're afflicted, then you're confused. You have no wisdom. It doesn't matter what you believe, what you say. If you're afflicted, you have no wisdom. You're making the wrong decisions at that very moment. Is that clear? If someone says, I don't like you, you're offended, aren't you? You're not offended. Okay, you're sad, aren't you? Okay, it doesn't work. Okay, you're afflicted, okay? You have no wisdom. Because you're confused about why this person yells at you, scolds you, insults you, it bothers you. You don't have to pretend. Okay? You can say, no, I'm not angry. No, I'm not afflicted. It doesn't matter what I believe. We're talking about whether you're afflicted inside or not whether it shows, whether we can see it. It's irrelevant. If you're afflicted, you have no wisdom because you have the improper views. All right? So, in particular, before you can develop transcendental wisdom, this is the beginning of Buddhist transcendental wisdom. The non-Buddhist teachings, they call their wisdom as transcendental. It's not. Because you find out that you go into the other spiritual teachings, they miss these things. They tolerate these one or more of these improper views. Because if you have these improper views, you are in a state of confusion. Doesn't matter who you are. Number one, view of a body. We cherish our body. We baby our body. We love our body like Narcissus. Okay? That is improper view of body. That means you have no wisdom. Okay? Uh-oh. We go into controversial areas. Blue. We're feeling blue.
These proper view, are they developed as a result of having wisdom, or is it a learned?
The proper views?
Yeah, it's proper view a learned behavior, a learned...
Yes, you will develop, you avoid these improper views, then the views are proper. So don't worry about the proper views. There's so many of them. Okay? But for you to have to wade into any of you, whether you're Christian, Ayatollah, or whoever, if you avoid having, believing, harboring these improper views, then you're in a state of wisdom. Okay? So all you have to remember is that, number one, you have this view of body. You think it's for real. And that's why, you do those things. You get massages. Oh, someone, oh, how did you know? How did you know? Okay. It shows attachments to the body. Are we saying that you should deny there's no body? No, we're not saying that. If you deny you have a body, then you're going to be in trouble. It's called stupidity. It's not called wisdom. It's right there. How can you say, I don't have a body? Okay? This view of body says that you're attached to the body. Yes, I don't think we can finish today. Yes, Blue.
Well, this is my own opinion, so just take it with a grain of salt. I feel that our body is just here as a vessel, so we could help others, and we have to do as much as we can to help others, and we have to maintain this body to help others. And if you feel sick, you have to go to a doctor so you could still help others. So we have to give ourselves to others and to, well, actually for God too. So that's my opinion.
It sounds like excuses to me. Okay? That's how brutal it's going to be. You making excuses. Stop it. You disagree too? Okay? It's not the way you think. And that's why when you justify, it sounds like justification, explaining yourself. It's not the way it is. It's just, I want you right now to learn about these improper views, okay? And eventually, over time, as you progress along, there will be time where we say, that's improper view. And you say, you are right. But it's not the way in the words as it sounds right now. It's not. Because you are not at the level where we can discuss the subtleties of this thing called view of a body. For you, it's different. For her, it's impossible. For her, forget it. For him, there's hope. There's so much hope. Okay, you know what I mean? Each person is different. The view of body here manifests differently in each and every one of you. It's not the same. It's not the way it sounds. This is why the Chinese, even they read this in their own language, they understand it better than we do. They have no clue. They think they understand. They don't. Someone, even they talk like this, they say, it's a problem. I don't attach to my body. I don't care about my hair. That's an attachment to the body. How's that? It's a negative attachment to the body. There's something called positive attachment and negative attachment. Yes? You see that? It's not the way you think. I want you right now to listen, please. Listen. It's not meant for you to understand yet because you're not as bright as you think you are. Doesn't matter how smart you are. You're a little bit beyond you. Right now. Okay? So there's something called attachment to the body that will prevent you from opening your wisdom. So far, so good. And it's not the way you think it is. It's not as obvious as you think it is. It's not the way it sounds. It's not the way the words are written like here. All right? Number 2, extreme views. Okay, this comes from the externalists, where the two extremes, extreme of permanence, meaning that you go to the heavens and you live forever. That's wrong. There's no such a thing. Heavens will also be destroyed over time. Whatever you can see in this world, in this universe, will be destroyed, will perish. Just like you, just like me, just like the atomic bomb, just like anything that has a form, that has a shape, will be destroyed, will disappear, will return to dust, and dust itself will also disappear. Yes, blue.
This question I had for a few months ago, actually. I just never had the time to ask. So if heaven can be destroyed or is not eternal, that means that Pure Land is not eternal either?
Pure Land?
If I'm saying that if Buddhism, everything is a cycle, right?
Yes.
Maybe I could be wrong, but anyways. If everything is a cycle, that means that Pure Land could not be eternal either, or it cannot be destroyed at one point?
Pure Land too will be destroyed and be reborn again. Anything that you can observe will be destroyed. But then it will be born again. Yes?
To the people that are in the Pure Land, if Pure Land gets destroyed, what will happen? They're going to be reborn again, or?
No, they move temporarily to another place. And when it recreated, then move back. It's just like fumigation of your house. Excuse me. It sounds so cruel, doesn't it? Brutality. It's not cruelty. I'm referring to something brutal. Okay? So one side, you have this permanence. It says it's forever. Like, I love you forever. Are you kidding me? How can you love me forever? Okay? Nothing lasts forever. Okay? So this view back then of non-Buddhist views where it's forever. Okay? Permanence. Then that's a wrong view. And the opposite end of it, of the spectrum, is a view of nihilism or annihilation, meaning that it doesn't matter. After you die, you return to the dust anyway. It doesn't matter. Okay? So go ahead. Lie. Steal. Con people. Hurt people. It doesn't matter. All right? It doesn't matter at all. Because after you die, everything disappears. Who cares? Your karmas will disappear as well. No consequences. Okay? So on one hand, you have permanence where you say, I'm a God, I'm there forever. No such a thing. I'm Shakyamuni Buddha. Does the Buddha last forever? No, he has to die himself. Think about it. Our Buddha died. Because in human realm, you live for so long. That's it. You have to die eventually. The Taoist says, I'm immortal. I can live for a lot longer than you. 10,000 years, 20,000 years, 30,000 years. But eventually, they'll die themselves. They cannot live forever. Okay? So this idea of permanence is totally wrong. There's no such a thing. It's not possible. Okay? On the other hand, the other spectrum, you can be a God forever. You can be an immortal forever. That's not possible. That is improper view. That's why you have no wisdom. Is that clear? The opposite end of the spectrum, it doesn't matter because everything disappears. Everything goes back to emptiness, goes back to dust. It's not true either. So it means that whatever you do, whatever karma you create right now in this lifetime has no consequences. That's impossible. So far so good. The two extremes, those are extreme views are wrong. That will prevent you, if you believe in that, you cannot unfold your wisdom. Let's say you are about to unfold your wisdom, your transcendental wisdom, and become a sage. At that very moment, you have, I'm going to become a sage and be near my God. Boom! You're done. No chance for you to open your wisdom. That's why it's so, you need to know this. Just test yourself. You do, and then you say you're about to become your wisdom. You open your wisdom and you say, no. I'm opening wisdom. And then I can be near my God and be a God forever. You never open your wisdom right then. Because that is the thing that obstructs that final step for you. This is what you need to understand. The reason many of you, I haven't bothered teaching you about these things, and yet I still certify you to have transcendental wisdom, because I taught you how to avoid harboring these views, improper views. That's all. The Chinese, the Buddhist scholars, they pride themselves on saying that I understand about wisdom, I understand about these things, but they don't know how to do it. You know how to do it. Now I only explain to you when you teach people. You have wisdom. Someone asked earlier, how do I help people? I'm teaching you how to help people, as well as the people who, excuse me. Oops. Okay, cover up your face, please. But, so there's a method behind this madness. That is, there is, some of you have no wisdom, some of you have wisdom. So now I begin to teach you that applies to both. Those who have wisdom would understand in the future how to help others who have not unfolded the wisdom, develop the wisdom by avoiding harboring these improper views. At the same time, the people who have not unfolded the wisdom, would recognize, would become aware of the obstructions to their developing wisdom. Yes, Pink.
I was just trying to put this in perspective. I remember hearing about the 6 principles. If that it's very important to follow those, even if you didn't have a good knowing advisor, that they can help you in your cultivation. Is this a refinement of that? Or do you need to know about the improper views to be able to execute the 6 principles? Or can you execute the 6 principles without even knowing the improper views?
You follow the 6 principles, you will avoid these 5 improper views. And that's why there's so many ways to skin the cat. To slice the potatoes. Sorry, it's my Catholic upbringing. No. There's a Catholic in our audience who refuses to abandon his God, no matter how hard I try. So sometimes I forget. Yes, you see, it's about the way we teach you here is an expedient that when you follow that narrow path, you avoid all these improper views. But then, at some point in time, we need to discuss it because we need to understand why the rest of the world, who is not privy to this narrow path we give you, why they're not making progress. You see that? Anyone else? All right. Extreme views is improper views. You be aware of that, okay? You don't have to believe it. I'm only telling you that this is for your reference, okay? Number 3, deviant views. Deviant views is that you don't believe in cause and effect. For example, you harm somebody, nothing bad's going to happen to you. That's deviant. You do something good, it's useless because no one knows. It doesn't matter anyway. You're going to die anyway. That's wrong as well. So, okay? If there's a cause, there will be a corresponding effect. You do good, you get good results. You do bad, you get bad results. No two ways about it. Okay? That's universally true for anyone. Okay? Number 4, view grasping at views. Okay? That is refers to the fact of these non-Buddhist practitioners who mistakenly think that they open the wisdom when they haven't. In particular, many Buddhist practitioners as well mistakenly think that they better than they really are. Okay? Yeah. So, for example, many Buddhist practitioners, when they get to the 4th dhyana, where they stop their thoughts, the minute thoughts, the fine thoughts, they mistakenly think they become 4th stage Rahat. Because at the 4th stage Rahat, your thoughts really, really stop. They totally stop. You can stop your thoughts at will at the 4th stage Rahat. Okay? How is it useful? I tell you why it's useful. Would you like to know why it's useful? You crave for Burger King. You crave this smell of the burger, and the grease that your tongue will savor, and the softness of the buns, You crave for that. You crave for that food. Okay? You have the thought. And normal people say, look, I feel like a burger. Okay? And then the next thought they said, today, let's add a little bit more ketchup than yesterday. Okay? Less mayonnaise. Okay? So You see, once you get a thought of greed, it keeps going and going and going. Yes? And then, of course, you cannot have a burger without fries. Only Asians, disgusting Asians, would do that. I can't stand it. When in my temple, my beloved people, I love you all. You're very special. They spend hours making this wonderful vegan burger. No, vegetarian burger. I hate vegan, by the way. Vegetarian burger, and then it's no fries. It's no ketchup. Can you imagine, Christian? and they have no clue. So now, how disgusted I was, because I was smiling. Oh, it's so wonderful. But anyway, so you have a burger and you want fries. And of course, we always top it up with a big gulp. Yeah. I can think of, Carl Jr.'s, where you can buy the burger and fries and a big Coke, cheaper than a burger and fries and no Coke. I don't get it. It's incredible. How can you, buy a combo that has a Coke that is cheaper than you buy the burger and the fries without Coke? Yes, sir.
For me, I was more afflicted when I was younger, when I went to American restaurants and I ordered a steak and they gave me tortillas. I hate that.
That's disgusting. Excuse me, let me take back the joke. Pepsi, not Coke. Good Lord, I don't want to promote Mr. Buffett's company. Jesus. Yes, any other questions or comments? Yes, sir, pink.
No,
Black.
yeah. Ever since yesterday, I was thinking about what you told me a lot about don't listen to the thoughts that came in your head. I just want to say that helped me a lot. I think it kind of relates to this, I think.
Of course. Isn't it amazing? You see, amazing in that they fool you all the time. Same thing. Your own Christian, your own faith, your own views will fool you all the time, even when you get that close. That's a problem. This is called Buddhist wisdom for that reason, because you are the one who shot yourself in the foot, no one else's. You have the wrong views. It's not you. So, it's that simple. It's not you. So learn to resist it. It's very powerful, but you can learn to resist it. That's all. Okay. So, going back to this view, how did we get into burgers and fries again? Yes, sir. What color? Fourth stage arhat. Thank you. Fourth stage arhat. Okay. So the fourth dhyana people, they put an end to the fine thoughts. So no thoughts arises in their mind. They think. Okay? But actually, there's some minute thoughts they're not aware of. That's why they mistakenly, quite often, they mistakenly think they certify the fourth stage arhat. All right? So that's called view, grasping at view. Because these people have samadhi, they have skills. And because being arrogant of their own arrogance, they give themselves more credit than they deserve. Is that clear? It's quite more commonplace than you think. I keep on referring to this first stage arhat Korean monk here in Los Angeles, in our Southern California area, and who first stage arhat, and he went to Myanmar and learned about from these second stage arhat people, and they certify each other as have some kind of cool things, and they come back here, and he thinks, he really believes he's a fourth stage arhat. Okay, and because there's some reason for that. I don't want to go into the technical details because I want you and to see those people, and you see how misguided they are, and they're fakes as well. So anyway, so we don't want to give you too many details, so that these charlatans can be better at the con games, okay, and making these false claims. So anyway, this guy has this only first stage arhat. There's some. It's just a very small area of similarity between a first stage arhat and fourth stage arhat, and because of that, he thinks he's a fourth stage arhat. There's no talking him out of it. He really believes he's so special, but an idiot. Okay, so it's called view grasping at views. You think you're mistaken about the results. Okay, results of your spiritual practice. You think you're fourth stage arhat. You think you're enlightened, but you're not. That's called view grasping at views. Okay, and finally, there's something a very specific form of confusion called the excessive prohibitive views. Okay, excessive prohibitions views, meaning that the people now, the fourth one is confused about the effects, the end results. The fifth erroneous view, improper view, is you're confused about the causes. Okay? Meaning that this applies to, especially the last two views, 4 and 5, refers to the people who cultivate. The excessive prohibitions views is the fact that you cultivate, you stop yourself from doing things excessively, thinking that it will help your cause. Okay, so it will help you get the result you aspire. So that's why these people have no wisdom. So they think, for example, that these people have opened their spiritual eye, the heavenly eye. You can open your heavenly eye and yet have no wisdom. Okay, and don't be so impressed by these people telling you that, hey, they can see things. They can see things. So can the first dhyana person. The first dhyana person can open their spiritual eye as well. It doesn't mean that first dhyana has any real wisdom. So these people, they practice, they open their eyes, for example, and they see that a dog has been, after the dog died, he was reborn in the heavens. So what does he do? He says, since the dog is born in the heavens, let's eat like a dog. Chew on bones. Because if I do that, I go to the heavens. And that's That's called excessive views. You stop yourself from doing, you force yourself to do things excessively that are not helpful in your opening your wisdom. And Buddhism, we have these rules of morality, but they're not extreme. They're not too lax, they're not too extreme either. They're called the middle way. There's just exactly the right amount for you to make it. Not too much, not too little. All right? So those are the five they're called the flow servants. Servants means afflictions. The 5 kinds of afflictions that you will have, you will develop internally, and that will prevent you from opening your wisdom. Okay? And again, if you have any of these 5 types of improper views, you will not be able to unfold, your wisdom. All right? So, for example, why does it matter to you? It matters to you in 2 ways. On your journey towards that position of wisdom, where you will unfold your wisdom, the transcendental wisdom. Okay? As you tag along, you develop these improper views, lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So you go along, okay? You develop it. That's why it takes you a lot longer to draw near the proper path. So it's detrimental to your spiritual progress. Number 1, okay? So avoid these. So teachers who subscribe to these 5 views, any of these 5 views, will not bring you there. Avoid those people. Okay? So for example, you say, I want to be successful so that I can get a nice car, buy a bigger house. That's what? What kind of confusion is that? What kind of improper view is that? Yes, red. Do you have a microphone?
Master, is that confusion about phenomenon? Or it needs to be from the next set of 5?
What?
You asked what kind of...
What kind of view or delusion is that? Which one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I retract my answer then.
Okay, he retracts it. So number 6. Yes. Pinky.
Well, I think that he was saying is number 3.
Number 3. Deviant views. No. Anyone? Christian. Number 4. Yes, anyone? Number 2. Wrong. So what's left? See, I thought you guys are smart. You say, oh, I'm a college grad, I'm, all these things. And you don't get it at all. You see, it's not the way you think. I rest my case. Answer is number 1. You attach to your body. That's why you want a house. That's why you want a car. You see that? You want to be comfortable. Who wants to be comfortable? Who lies down at night to sleep? Who hates when I tell you to sit sleep? See how deviant you are? Look no further. Just look at your neighbor. View of a body. Huh? See that? No wisdom. All right? Yeah, cool. You see, that's why you read it. The Chinese read it. The scholars read it. They think they understand. No, it's not the way it reads. It's not like that. That's why when you get close, the good no advisor, remember I said two kinds. For those of you who are practicing, at least now you go along the way, because we are now, have a wider path. We cannot afford to do the small path anymore unless we throw people out. Okay, so we have a wider path, so we need to include more people. So I need to prepare you for low level people who's totally anarchist, QAnon, and you may not believe everything, but at least we plant the seeds for you for the future. In the future, you hear again, you begin to have a feel for it. Okay, but however, there's some people who are better now. From your vantage point, look at these people. Why these people will not listen to you? Why is it they get stuck? Because of these improper views. That's okay. And finally, it is something because it's not the way you think. That's why when the time comes, the good no advisor, this is a secret in Mahayana. Good no advisor in Hinayana too, but they are not as specific, as obvious as we are. Hinayana also is about good no advisor. This is, don't call it, that's all. It's not as advanced in that technique as we are. That's why they cannot promote it. For us, it's good no advisor. That's it. Only one thing. We don't care. Okay? The fact those of us who have been able to follow this narrow path, like my master, showed for us, you get there. You don't need to understand all these things. But now you understand it because again, you need to help others. You can see them. You can begin to observe these people around you. Okay, the more of them come, the more they can observe. You see many more manifestations of these 5 improper views. And finally, when the time comes, okay, this is when you have to pay attention. Your good no advisor will tell you, no, that's a wrong view. Okay? And you can go look back at these 5 things. Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay? Because it has a way of manifesting that you cannot detect yourself. And that's a role of a good no advisor. Because if the good no advisor, you don't have access to one like that, which I didn't for 4.5 years, I have all these wrong views. No one corrected me. Guess how much good the 4.5 years did for me in terms of making progress, spiritual progress. Zilch. Because it's not the way it reads. It's not the way you think. Okay. Questions or comments? So, yes, Christian.
Okay, so I only agree with 80% of it, maybe 70, but still, my question is that, so these views are, or these beliefs or views, or are they part of the precepts, or?
No, this is what you believe.
So basically, if you believe in this, if you follow these things, you become enlightened, basically.
Yeah, you don't hang on to these views. You have a chance to become. If you really insist on say, no, I don't believe that, and this is one of 5 beliefs you have, is one of your beliefs belong to one of these 5 here. Okay? For example, you say that first stage Arhat, Korean first stage Arhat monk, he says, I don't care. My teacher tells me that I got something so big. I don't believe you. Okay? He's so adamant about it. And he's not even aware of that he's violating number 4. Because his Hinayana teacher never taught him that. Because his Hinayana teacher has the same problem. Okay, so that's why clearly that's what when it happened. I looked at him and said, "Oh wow, violation number 4. Number 4. What can you do?" He's so adamant about it. So you walk away. Be that way. Okay? And that's what happens not only to this Sunim, where we drop the adjective, but happens to a lot of people. Okay? Namely, the people who are well read, who are erudite. Okay? I can't tell you how many people I talk to, monks, nuns, scholars, PhDs, masters, and so forth. And they have all these views. There's no telling them. No way to tell them. They're so adamant. They said, Buddha says so. Buddha says so, but you don't understand. Just case in point, when I talk about view of body here, you don't even know what it means, let me tell you. There's no way to explain to you. There's no need to explain to you. It's meant to be shown to you, not explained to you. We talk about this in theory right now for you to be aware of this, okay? That's very important. But what's also even more important is the fact that it's not the way you think. Don't make the mistake of all the people who read about this, who studied this, who researched this, and so forth, and they think they understand. It's not the way they think. And I give you a final tip. Time is up. Final tip. If we make the effort to tell you it's not the way you think, that you're wrong, and you're still adamant about that, you're done. You're not worth it. No, it's a waste of time to talk to you. Like that Korean monk. It's a waste of time. Deviant view. He is so dead set, that he's so sure that he's right. Because his teacher told him so. Because he knows he's better than most other monks, most colleagues, most lay people. Yes? But the problem with that kind of thinking is that you may be able to recognize you better than those below you. But can you recognize those above you? You can't. So I'm advising you, when a good no advisor gives you advices, be grateful, because it doesn't come very often. You screw up, there's no seconds. Remember, in a Chan school, when Bodhidharma came to China and met with Shen Guang, who later became the second patriarch, he had to kneel behind Bodhidharma for 9 years to be taught. He earned it. Yeah, it took him 9 years to earn the right to be taught. It's not something you can buy. So when someone teaches you something and you're not grateful, it stops. You're not worthy to be taught anymore. You're a waste of time. Yes, Green.
Bạch thầy hồi nãy nói cái ông tăng mà Thái Lan á, thầy ông nói với ông tăng kia đó, thầy ông khuyên, ông nói những cái lời đó là cái lời nịnh hót hay không? Hồi nãy thầy nói ông biết Đại Hàn Thái Lan, thì ông tăng kia ông mới nói ông là tu như vậy là đắc được cái gì, thì mà ông này thì ông có cái tự cao, thì ông nghe ông mừng quá, ông nói là ông đi đâu ông cũng nói là ông được cái này được cái kia, là cái ông tăng kia không biết ông nói cái câu này, ấn chứng cho ông là cái ông thầy này ông chưa giác ngộ mà ông ấn chứng cho cái ông này, rồi ông này đó ông tự cao, là ông kia ông hại ông này hay sao? Là cái đó là cái lời tà kiến phải không thầy?
So previously you talked about the Korean monk, that he's very arrogant, and then he thought that he attained a lot, and that's from his teacher that told him so. So those words, is that improper view?
Yeah, that's the teacher is spread his disease to the student. Because you choose the wrong teacher, you learn the wrong things. It's just life. It's no big deal. Okay, and that's why Hinayana, they don't have the system that we in Mahayana have. We have a patriarch system where the teachers are certified. Hinayana, they don't have certifications. And nowadays, in our times, the teachers, the famous teachers, are no longer certified. Unfortunately for you. Okay? And that's why it's important for you to choose your teacher properly. It can make or break your journey. Okay, what happens, and you can tell that in general, the one class of teacher you can avoid immediately are the teachers that are so nice and so sweet and so catering to your needs, so pleasant to you. Okay? Because it's quite common, because especially in California, there's so many monks chasing after the shrinking number of Buddhist disciples. Because the more you chase after them, the more they kiss up to those Buddhist disciples, the more disenchanted they become. They move over to God. Okay? Where they get have better music, better social things. So that's what happens, and so that's why now the Buddhist teachers are trying to become like a church, because they can appeal to a lot more people. They do charity work. They engage in society without any wisdom. You have no wisdom, you engage with afflictions, you will get afflicted yourself. They're playing with fire. Okay? Even my master's disciples, even though they have some real skills, they're arhats and enlightened, and yet they still don't engage. They engage in a very limited fashion because they know that it's so easy to get infected. It's a different skill set where you engage you engage in order to develop wisdom. It's a different kind of Dharma. Whereas the Hinayana, they have to disengage to preserve the wisdom. Last night we heard of someone, a lady in Korea, and says, I have some samadhi as soon as I meet with people and I encounter these unpleasant people, these whiners and these complainers, I get so afflicted. I lose my samadhi. I lose everything I got. And that's part of the training. Okay? If you have some skills, one way is for you to preserve it and hide, and you're absolutely useless. You go back home, and you have to hide in your room because soon you talk to your spouse, to your brother, to your sisters, your friends, to your relatives. You get afflicted. That's useless skills. So these teachers, they don't have the skills, and they taught too soon, too prematurely. They still have afflictions, and they taught prematurely because all they're doing is spreading the disease to their children. In Mahayana, traditionally in China, we didn't encourage that at all. Chinese Mahayana is against that. And that's why for a while Mahayana in China prospered, because of the purity of the skills of the teachers. Until recently, Buddhism, the whole world in this Dharma ending age is full of teachers with no wisdom whatsoever. At least my master has a vision to tell his disciples to hide behind four walls so that they don't infect people. That's wisdom. Okay? Because the skill set for you to go engage with people is an entirely different kind of skill set, much more difficult. Requires much more wisdom that needs to be developed. And he really didn't have the chance to develop it for them. That's why it happened. Don't teach too soon. Okay? Until you have the skills to teach. Case in point, my masters, my generation, they can't teach. That's why they hide. It's that simple. That's purity, mind you. Unlike the rest of the other people, they don't have to teach. You don't need to worry about making ends meet. They have enough resources to sustain their hiding behind the four walls and purify themselves. Unfortunately, the rest of the monks out there and nuns out there have no choices. They have to pay for the temple and have to pay for the mortgage, have to pay for the car insurance. That's why they're stuck. I have a problem. My master, when he had, when he was so poor and so unknown, and so many people came to his temple, they slept in the veranda, the outdoors. Okay, they even have to build some kind of makeshift thing, an A-frame thing for them to shield them from the rain in Northern California, in Chinatown, San Francisco, Chinatown. There's so many people. Okay, but what he taught me is that in spite of all those people, he would rather let them die of starvation than open his mouth and ask for help. That's their purity. They're superior people. They saw that in my master. Okay, are we done? I think time is up. Let's do a rebirth transference. Thank you all.